Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast. Dave Palet, Josh Palet, Mario Heron. Chargers lose today, 24-7 at home to the Denver Broncos. They fall to 5-8 on the season. And guys, things are at an all-time low. I mean, in so many different ways, things are at an all-time low for this team. It's amazing that as bad as last week's 6-0 victory was, I mean, as far as entertainment factors were, we were kind of like bored and not even a matter of, are we going to hold on? And they got to win. And it was like, that was a terrible game. Today's game was worse. Mario wrote me in the middle of the game that said, "Hey, can we just end this game already?" And that's exactly how I felt. I was about to send you the same message. Like, this is terrible NFL football on both sides. The Broncos weren't as good as that 24 points. At the same time, the Chargers were just so bad. But Josh, before I get to you, the thing that bothered me most, guys, is that it felt like what happened today was exactly what I was afraid was going to happen, meaning that they're just done with the message. Brandon Staley is stale, and whatever goes on during the week and whatever goes on around in that locker room, the message is old. And I hate to say it, before Justin Herbert got hurt, I felt like Justin Herbert didn't want to play today, which I've never felt that way about Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I feel like the frustration's been building big time for Herbert the last few weeks. Then when he got hurt today, he probably might have thought like maybe this is just like an out for me. I don't have to deal with this crap anymore. I have nobody to throw the ball to but Keenan Allen. And Staley's name, Stale's literally in the name. So, I mean, it's right there. The joke is right there. But the Chargers defense at the end where they have 4 third downs on defense to stop them and they convert 4 in a row is just like their season in a nutshell. The missed tackles by the Chargers, it was Derwin James, right? Kenneth Murray had one, and then the guy's wide open in the end zone. It's just like embarrassing, man. It's not even NFL football. It was the perfect opportunity for the Chargers to get a game up on the whole division, right? Because if you would have beat the Broncos, there's a game right there. The Raiders lose 3-0, and then the Chiefs lose by 3 points to the Bills. You would have gained a game on every team within the division, but yet they lose. And I don't know what you're going to expect. The Easton Stick, he looked kind of good at the end, but he's a backup quarterback for a reason.
My full name's Benjamin Mario Heron, and I'm from Noblesville, Indiana, and I'm here to declare that this season is so done. And the Los Angeles Chargers are going to finish last in the AFC West. They suck. This team's a disappointment. Take your Charger gear, go ahead, put it in a drawer, and save it for next year. Save it for the NFL draft because that's the only thing you're going to be hopeful for the rest of the year. They suck. They're terrible. This is not a good football team. This was not a good game by them. I agree with you, Dave. I don't think Herbert showed up ready to play today at all. I don't think the receivers showed up ready to play today at all. I think the defense couldn't tackle a 3-leg dog. They were so bad at making plays on that side of the football today. It was just a god-awful game. And even if you're a Broncos fan, I don't think you walk away from this game feeling that confident with how bad the Chargers played. Buddy, you should have put up 30 points today. Easily put up 30 points. Chargers didn't take advantage of moments that they should have. And now we're in a really, really bad spot where our franchise quarterback is hurt with a bunch of aging players. And Dave, if you're Keenan Allen, if you're Khalil Mack, you're thinking, why the hell am I going to play these next couple of games? Why the hell am I going to risk it? And to be honest with you, I don't blame them because there's nothing to play for.
Keenan Allen's playing for record books. I mean, unfortunately, you know what? The sad things about Keenan Allen, his whole career has been playing about for his individual stats. And that's not from a selfish point. It's all that he has, Mario. There's just nothing there.
Yeah.
I mean, this team hasn't threatened to make a run at a Super Bowl its entire career. It's been a waste of maybe a Hall of Famer's entire career. You could say the same thing about Larry Fitzgerald, but guess what? He did make it to a Super Bowl. You know, there are other wide receivers, Megatron, end up saying, I got to retire. I can't do it anymore. It's too painful to keep losing the way you're losing. This season has been so frustrating because they were picked to take a step towards that Super Bowl. You lost in the playoffs in embarrassing fashion last year to Jacksonville. We've talked about it over and over again. And then you go, it has to be better. Maybe there's a chance that something can happen where they pass the Chiefs. They can't win the division. You can't host a playoff game. Never once in my mind before the season began did I think this was not a playoff team. I mean, it would have been, I bet the house, this is a playoff team. It's just how far are we going in the playoffs? I didn't want a first-round exit. Before the season began, I told you guys AFC championship at the very least. is where this team needs to be. And guys, they can't make the postseason, that they're picking in the top 10 of the draft. How in the hell did this possibly happen? How could everything go off the rails it's such a dramatic form right now that it's embarrassing. The thing that's interesting as I got a Dodger hat on, okay? We talk about this all the time, Josh and I, about can you name the top 10 stars that play sports in Los Angeles? And you go through the names, and then, how many Chargers make the top 10? Is there a Charger on the top 10? Well, Shohei Ohtani is the biggest global star in the world right now. And of course, he's in LA, and it was the LA Angels. But Mario, I know you don't live in Southern California. People don't look at Anaheim exactly as LA. But now here you go. And you have LeBron winning that tournament last night on TV. You have, the $700 million man in Ohtani. And then you have the Chargers completely s the bed today and completely embarrassing fashion. They couldn't be at an all-time worst right now as far as being relevant in Los Angeles sports. Today was a bad day for the Chargers. Couldn't happen at a worse time considering what happened yesterday in Los Angeles.
Is there anywhere you specifically point your finger, or is it a team thing? Like, would you when you're upset? Where's your anger? Okay, it's at the top. That's where your anger is directed when you watch these games. Or are you looking at the players?
Today, 100%, I blame Dean Spanos for allowing the people that work underneath him to let this happen and for him not to make any changes. If he goes and fires Staley this week, I'm going to be really upset. Like, don't do that now. You blew it. There was an opportunity where you could have turned your season around, at least made a serious run. Mathematically, this is over. I mean, it's over. They're 5-8 right now. Even if they win the rest of the games at 9-8, they probably aren't getting in. It's way too late, man. It's almost Christmas. And you're going to get rid of your coach now? Don't do it. Just sit there and write it out. Just be the embarrassing guy that you are right now and write it out the rest of the year and clean house. I mean, that goes for everybody. Sad thing is he's not going to fire his son. I don't mean to take your time, Marty. I just jumped right in. But, man, you aren't going to fire John Spanos. And Telesco's going to take the heat. He's going to be gone. Staley's going to be gone. I don't know how good I'm going to feel, Josh, unless you're able to revamp about, let's say 22 starters overall. Unless you're able to revamp about 16 guys. That's how I feel right now. Like 16 guys need to go.
Okay. Mario, we answered that question too. Is that how you feel too, right at the top? Or are you looking at players you're getting upset with?
I think it's a mix of at the top and the coaching because, look, I could tell you the play on first down every single series. Every single series. It's going to be a run. It's going to be a run. That was the issue with me. These receivers, this is ridiculous. I mean, this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, it absolutely blows my mind that they think this group of wideouts, a bunch of no-namers on the practice team, we're going to get it done with an all-pro quarterback. The reason why Herbert got hurt today is because of the coaching and the guys upstairs. The coaching where they look like they had no idea blitz was coming the whole freaking time. And then he gets hurt from sacks. By the way, he's also taken some hits past couple of games. And then 2, the receiver core, that is just Keenan Allen, and that's it. And you know what? Good. He's going for a record. He deserves a record. But at the same time, dude, the fact that you weren't aggressive at all shows that you weren't serious about winning the title. You weren't. You were a liar. You weren't serious at all. You're a joke. You're a clown. And I think that's where I sit, Josh. That's where my anger goes. What about you?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Coaching, I've been disappointed in Kellen Moore. He's definitely not what we expected. We were hyped on him going into the year. I'm definitely not hyped on him now, and I think you're exactly right. You can predict what he's going to do almost every drive. You could know what the Chargers you could know what the game plan was going to be against the Chargers without watching any film, right? Because they have Patrick Surtain, one of the best corners in the NFL. Chargers offensive line is not very good. Blitz Herbert and have Surtain cover Allen. Who the hell else is going to throw the ball to? I mean, it's the easiest game plan ever. Vance Joseph probably just put his feet up on the couch and said, hey, blitz. Seriously, we're going to win this game. They're not going to be able to score any points on this. They have one option. It's just starts at the top for me, Mario, mostly I'd say because of the depth on this team. Going into the year, we knew it was an issue. Trey Pipkins has no business being a starting right tackle. There's, like Dave's right, I think 16 guys on this team should be replaced. Quentin Johnson has the best game of his career, and I really don't care. I mean, I'll give him credit where it's due. He had 2 really nice catches back-to-back. It is such a footnote on a game that was so embarrassing. One of the most forgettable games in Chargers history. It was hard to watch. It's hard to root for a team that feels like they don't try. and I'm talking about from the top, they don't try to get better. If you fire Staley now, I couldn't agree more with Dave. It is so late. I mean, you had the opportunity to do it after the playoff game. You had the opportunity to do it during the season when you could still save it, but now it's over. Mathematically, it's done, and the Chargers have no chance. Don't fire him now. Show me that you care. If you're in a leadership role, show me that you want to win.
I'm not so sure when the Bronco players got around Herbert, he didn't reach over and snap his own finger and break it. Like, I got to get out of here. I'm taking a dive. It's let me tell you, and this goes for the people that have been great enough to listen to the show and leave comments. Look, I know you love this team, so do we. Okay, but I'm not going to sit there and tell you your baby's beautiful when your baby's ugly, and you got an ugly baby. Okay, Isaiah Spiller sucks. Stop telling me about Isaiah Spiller. Joshua Kelly sucks. Austin Eckler's old. All these guys that you sit there and you talk about and say, if you give those guys a chance, just because they wear a Charger uniform doesn't make them good. Okay. For some reason, we fall into that as sports fans all the time. Once they put on our uniform, oh, that guy's going to be great. It doesn't work out that way. They got to really look at changing a lot of guys out because basically the well is poisoned. Whoever comes in, there's still a bad attitude of bad players and losing and everything else. You know, we've spoken about this before. Bosa has to go. And man, I never thought I would say this a year ago, but Derwin James probably has to go. You probably could get something in return for Derwin, meaning 2 players for 1, because Derwin James still has years left there where you can play and be a decent player. This team needs roster spots. I mean, they need guys that can actually step in and wear the uniform and make plays. The guys who are playing on this Charger team wearing this uniform, man, are not good overall. You have Herbert, who I do believe is an elite player, or as much as I'm frustrated with him, look, he's an elite player. And I love how the announcer called out the fact him getting the balls knocked down. Man, we've said it all year long, and everyone says, oh, you guys are being too tough on him. The guy's 6'6". He constantly gets his passes knocked down. It's insane. And it's very frustrating watching him. Keenan Allen's, we think he's great. There's not a bigger group of Keenan Allen fans than the guys that do this show. Again, when you set that record today for, the quickest to, 900 yards in a career, and you're going, how many people across the country look at Keenan Allen as being the player that he is? How many times are the Chargers playing in big-time games? If he played for the Chiefs, everybody would know. But the Chargers don't get a chance of playing big-time games. They don't get a chance to make serious playoff runs. It's old, man. We're wasting Justin Herbert's career right now. Forget about it. Already wasted Keenan Allen's. Now we're just wasting Justin Herbert's career.
100%. It's been a complete waste. I'm with you on Derwin James. I would love him for him to be a Charger, but if they can get something in return, they should revamp this whole thing because it's not working. A culture change is needed. Derwin James isn't playing up to his standard. Like I just said a second ago, he misses a huge tackle on 3rd down. Derwin James used to never miss tackles. This year, it seems like he's missing tons of tackles. Kenneth Murray, good Lord, dude. Who taught this guy how to tackle? He misses so many tackles, too. It drives you nuts watching these games. Chargers, 0 for 12 on 3rd down conversions. 1 for 6 on 4th down. So that's 1 for 18 on gotta have it downs. It's just not a serious team, man. You cannot be in the NFL and go 1 for 18. That's like a bad high school team. And this is the LA Chargers. It's just a joke. Easton Stick, you have no chance when he enters the game. Justin Herbert has no chance when he's in the game. I'm all for a start over. Get some good draft picks, get some free agents in there, maybe trade away some guys and get some value back. But you got to start this thing over.
Not to mention the over 20 possessions in a row without a touchdown for this offense. And then you go, like you said, 0 for 12 on 3rd down. We go 1 for 6 on 4th down. Give up 6 sacks, a fumble, an interception. Like, this was the worst offensive performance by the Chargers all year. And then this was the nail in the coffin. You lose to the Broncos. There's no way you're going to split with them now. They're going to sweep us this year. They're going to sweep us. So we're not going to win it at Mile High, especially right now because they're in that 5-way, 6-way tie for that playoff spot. So they're going to need to win. So they're in a very bad spot. And the thing that we saw vintage today of was we saw vintage Staley, right? The 6 go-for-its on 4th down. Now, granted, he did get to a point where you kind of had to go for 4th down, where the way the game was going, you didn't have a choice. Like, you had to go. But the early ones, Dave, 1, I want to ask you, did you like it? And 2, what would you change about it? Because I love the first one. The first one, I thought you couldn't just walk away with 3 after that Michael Davis play. You couldn't. But the fact that they didn't right there, I don't know why, but I had a feeling as soon as they didn't get that, I went, all right, they're losing this game. I tell you, my buddy was texting me. My buddy was down a lot of money today because he was an idiot just gambling all day. And he goes, what should I do right now? As soon as that happened, I said, I'd bet the Broncos right now because there's no way the Chargers are going to win this game.
No, yeah, absolutely right. I think Staley honestly knows he can't be that dumb. He knows this is it. I mean, this is his last few games as a head coach in the NFL, probably for the rest of his life. And says, you know what? If I had to do things without people holding my hand, I'd be going for it on fourth down a lot more. He had to today. Unfortunately, man, he doesn't have the tools to go for it. It's really the only time all year I'm going to question the Chargers' effort. I'm not talking about the offensive lineman. I mean, it's one, if you're going to sit there as an offensive lineman and say, my head's not in it, you're going to get hurt. But as far as other guys, I don't think, man, the effort was there from all 53 guys. I just don't feel like the team's effort was that of a caliber professional athlete. And it was very frustrating. I mean, it's Antonio Gates Day. You've seen some of the Charger greats there at SoFi Stadium. It was cool to see Phillip Rivers for the first time in Los Angeles. He's never been at SoFi Stadium since he left the Chargers, and he was there to support his friend. All that stuff was cool. You're wearing uniforms you don't normally wear. Like, you think as a player, the stuff that maybe gets you amped up. How about the fact you're playing a team inside your division should get you excited as well. The fact that that's the first time the Broncos have won a game on the road against the AFC West team since 2019.
Wow.
Holy yes. I mean, that's like crazy. That's a crazy stat. That's a crazy stat. And you go, you're the team that did it. Not only do they beat you, it wasn't even close. I mean, there are a couple of touchdowns that were called back that the Broncos scored, right? I mean, there were at least two of them off the top of my head that, well, there are two touchdowns right there that were called back. This could have been much worse than what the scoreboard even showed. It's frustrating. It's an all-time low for the Chargers. And I tell you what, guys, I'll apologize to both of you because just a few weeks ago, I said to you, I get players that help you win right now, and there's no time to rebuild when you have a franchise quarterback. You got to try and win right now. You can't waste years of Justin Herbert. Well, what I saw today, you got to rebuild with a coach through the draft, through a new GM, through a mindset. You got to change everything to what you want your franchise to be. Because, as I said before, the well is poisoned, and the guys in this locker room, man, aren't guys that are going to win for you. Eventually, if you're ever going to hold a Lombardi trophy, there may be 2-3 guys on this roster that can be in that locker room with you. Everyone else has to go. It's that bad. Khalil Mack, there's no way in hell. Sorry, Josh. No way Khalil Mack wants to be part of this.
No, absolutely not. He needs to keep balling, though, because he wants those numbers probably to show that I still have it in the tank for the next team that will pick him up.
Yeah.
So Mario just put in the notes right now that Herbert has a fractured finger on his throwing hand. Surgery is a possibility. So that just says he's probably not going to play the rest of the season. They have nothing to play for anyways. You sit Herbert, right? That's the right move. And then you revamp this whole thing to show that you care, because that will show Justin Herbert, hopefully, that we're trying to build a team around you. What we have now is not working. Is that the move, Mario, for sure? Like, you get maybe a tight end or something in the first round, Brock Bowers, try to build around him from that. I mean, I don't know. What do you do?
Yeah, so here's the thing. I think you say Herbert, you say to Bosa, you say to Palmer, say anyone else that's injured right now, you're done. You're not going to play for the rest of the year, right? Like that's just what you do. So right now, according to tankathon.com, the Chargers have the 10th pick. And here's the teams ahead of the Chargers, right? So you have the Jets, you have the Raiders, you have Chicago, you have Tennessee. So when you look at these teams, you go, all right, which teams are still going for it, right? Well, Chicago's still going for it. They now think they can make the playoffs after today. So you go, all right, Chicago's going to go down. So Chicago's going to go down. You can probably get up a spot. Then you have the Jets. All right, so you have the Jets. You're looking at the Jets. Jets are at this weird point where, like, they can't really come out and say, yeah, we're done. But at the same time, they have the Commanders left on their schedule, and they have the Patriots left on their schedule. They could very easily beat both those teams. And they also have the Dolphins. And, they would love to spoil Dolphins parade against a divisional team. They're known for that. They would like to do that. They have the Browns. I think they lose that game. So let's just say the Jets win too. That's another spot the Chargers cool up. So we're already at 8. So then we play the Las Vegas Raiders. Do we really think we're going to sweep the Raiders this year? I don't think so. Not that Antonio Pierce is head coach. So let's say they lose to the Raiders and they're a little bit below. I mean, they have more losses than the Raiders, they move up. They're already at the 7th spot in this scenario, considering everything else above stays the same, and I imagine so because the rest of these teams blow. So they could get up to the 6th or 7th spot. So if they get up to that spot, that's a Brock Bowers. That's a receiver. That's another, name it, corner. That's a spot where you can really change the direction of your organization. That's a spot where the Bengals got Jamar Chase. And look what happened next year. They went to the Super Bowl. Do I think that can happen with every team? No. But what we've seen with the Texans is that one draft class can really change the direction you go to. So I think, Dave, it's send everybody to Bahamas, 1, 2, 3, Cancun, enjoy the strawberry daiquiris, show up to 2024 ready to hit somebody, and let's go get a game changer with our top 10 pick, possibly top 5 pick that we could have.
All right, so I'm with you. I mean, obviously Herbert's not going to play the rest of the year. Bosa doesn't matter. You're going to let him loose anyway, you know.
Yeah, he's
but he's not in a hurry. He's not in a hurry to come back. He's already trying on 49er gear to support his brother in the playoffs. So I don't give an S about him. And then when I look at the Chargers, and the guy I really do want to keep happy that he's here because I want an effort from him every single week is Justin Herbert. The question is, if you go draft on the offensive side of the ball, now look, miracle situation is that you got a Marvin Harrison Jr. He's not going to fall to you. You probably aren't going to get him. He's going in the top 3, I'm guessing. I mean, he's outstanding. But so here you go. You have 2 different directions. This is where I want your answer. The tight end Brock Bowers, who as good as he is, and we're all huge fans of him from Georgia, he probably will slip a little bit because we saw these guys slip last year. All of a sudden you're going, what's the deal? It's a Notre Dame tight end. Then all of a sudden, Laporta, they were right. The scouts were right. Laporta was the tight end that everybody fell in love with at the combines and go, he's the guy. And Michael Mayer hasn't done anything for the Raiders. So do you guys go wide receiver, tight end, corner, or offensive line help? What direction do you go if you're picking in the top 8?
There's just so many holes. You can go so many different
That's
directions.
what I'm saying. You're drowning over here. But let's go to what Mario just said. The Texans, guess what? Shocked the world by going for a big-time quarterback and also a big-time defensive player. And it was like, wow, the Texans really did something amazing. And look at the Texans, man. I mean, they're having an incredible year. Nobody saw the Texans where they are right now. Absolute joke. But those 2 moves were franchise changers right there.
Yeah, they were. And I think the Lions did something similar, right? They got Brian Branch,
Yep.
they got Laporta, and they have Campbell that are all balling. I think there's a 4th rookie, too, that's playing really well for them that I can't think of. But they've done a great job in the draft. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs. Holy crap. Jahmyr Gibbs. Amazing draft. You could see how you can change a whole team with one draft. Chargers. I mean, obviously, that's a dream situation. But Malik Neighbors from LSU should have won the Blitnikoff best receiver in the nation. He's going to be available probably at the Chargers draft pick. You have some tackles you could probably take. I don't know how comfortable these guys are playing right tackle. You know how guys can be want to play left tackle. Chargers obviously have a huge hole at right tackle. Cornerback. Right now, one of these mock drafts, I'm looking at the Chargers getting a cornerback from Clemson. I hate getting defenders from Clemson. They usually don't pan out. Kool-Aid McKinstry from Alabama is amazing if he's available. There's just so many holes, Mario. You go in so many different directions. My pick would be Brock Bowers. I know you said a few shows ago that's not very often that a tight end can change a whole team. And I agree with you. I don't think a tight end can change a whole team. But if you can get a situation where a quarterback and a tight end can develop a relationship that's consistent, like Kelsey and a Mahomes, a Gates and a Rivers, that's something to build off of. And it's hard to cover a tight end in any defense. Tight ends are the one thing that'll throw a wrinkle and make you kind of just wonder what to do. And I think the Chargers could definitely do that with Brock Bowers. And hopefully he's available at the Chargers pick, but I wouldn't be upset if they went in a different direction because there's like a hole almost everywhere on the team.
I think the good thing in this draft is like with Brock Bowers, like he could have came out as a sophomore and they would have been like, yeah, he's a top 15 guy, and you could say that easily about Marvin Harrison Jr. And you can also say that about Caleb Williams, right? So it's like 3 guys. Obviously, we don't really need Caleb Williams, but there's 3 guys in 3 different positions that a lot of people had said even last year they'd go top 15, top 10. I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is the dream. Brock Bowers is the reality. And then surprise, I'm happy is I don't know how to pronounce the last name, so I just go, it's Rome, the Washington wideout. He's a freaking beast. That would be another guy I would love to grab. Corners, obviously a position of need, and the thing I'm waiting on is it's going to be hard, but like, is there any way they free up any money? Like, is there any way they free up
Yeah, they
any
will.
money?
They
Because if
will.
they do, Jalen Johnson's out, is more than likely out of Chicago, more than likely. And he got another pick today, and that guy's a freaking killer. And
Yeah.
I would love to get him, but that he's gonna be pricey, and I don't know. Right now they definitely can't afford him. But you always say this, Dave. The great teams find a way to get guys paid. You
Yeah, you
know,
can open that window when you're ready to open that window. Now,
yeah,
again, the Chargers aren't making a Super Bowl run, so they might not say this is our time. Like, you got to pay the piper down the line. That's what happened to the
yeah,
Saints. The Saints
yeah.
opened that window up, and then all of a sudden, all right, now it's time to pay. The Rams did the same thing. Now it's time to pay. The Eagles are doing it right now. The Eagles are sitting there getting guys and going, how in the hell are they still grabbing guys? They have a franchise quarterback, but they're going to have to pay the piper down the line sooner than later. But, the 49ers have a fantastic roster, but they have a quarterback on a rookie deal, so he's making the minimum. So it helps you out tremendously. The Chargers are going to have money because Bosa will be gone and Khalil Mack will be gone and Eckler will be gone. They're going to have money, and if you get rid of Derwin James, you're going to have more money. So when do you want to open that window up is what any GM has to say. I'll be honest with you. I'd rather have a GM. We used to make fun of the Chargers for not having picks because they would always trade picks away like the Rams were doing for a while. And now you have a GM that never makes trades during the season or trades up for guys. You don't see the big time moves that make a difference. So it's a matter for the Chargers when they sit down, whoever that GM is, and says, hey, how soon can I put my mark on this team? Meaning you're giving me full control of this roster. This is where John Spanos gets in the way. This is what I was saying last show. Any GM you bring in, and we mentioned guys from, the Eagles or the Niners or the Chiefs or whatever else, whoever comes in has to know what the pecking order is. And they know that the owner's son is in the way. He's going to block you when you're trying to make moves that you think can make a difference. That's what's frustrating. So let's go learn from Bill Polian. Learn from a guy that had success. But guess what? He's not letting him GM like Bill Polian was allowed to GM.
Well, then the conversation starts with when you bring in a coach, is he going to make the decisions? Or are you going to bring in a real GM that's going to be doing the draft picks? You look at the Chargers draft history from the last few years, it's bad. It's bad. The Eagles can get guys like Darius Leonard and Julio Jones and these older guys. Not that Julio Jones is going to change the team around, but veteran guys because they draft really well. You look at the Chargers draft 2019, you got Jerry Tillery in the first round. You got Nasir Adderley, who's retired. You got Trey Pipkins. I mean, it's just misses all over the place. Kenneth Murray in the first round in 2020 after Justin Herbert. Joshua Kelly in the fourth round. Don't tell me Joshua Kelly's good. You got Rashawn Slater, which was a good draft pick. Asante Samuel Jr. was good. Josh Palmer, 2021 was probably his best draft. And then Zion Johnson, up to this point, has been a disappointment. Our first round draft pick in 2022. JT Woods, who's on the team one week, not on the team the other week. Isaiah Spiller, a complete miss. And then this year you have one rookie that's making any type of difference. That's Tooley. Quinn Johnson has proven to be a disappointment. Dan Henley can't even get on the field. Darius Davis isn't, doing much. I mean, it just misses, too many misses, man. You lose your job for that type of thing. And the fact that he gets this many tries to get it right just shows that the Chargers aren't completely serious. And John Spanos, I would love to know if I could have one question answered. How much does he have to do with this? Because he's definitely part of the problem if he's drafting these guys too. You got to get it right. You can't keep missing in the first, second, and third round. You have to get those picks right to be a competitive team.
I think too, you're in a very crucial window where you went all in, and there's ways to make sure that you don't have to go complete rebuild, right? Like there's a way to all right, how can we stay afloat? And I think right now we're in a moment of how are you going to do that without going, yeah, Herbert, we're going to sell everything. Like it is a garage sale. The couch is out there. You're sleeping on the floor. You maybe get an air mattress and here's a Pop-Tart for dinner. Like, how are you going to make sure that doesn't happen? How are you going to make sure that it's not a rebuild and it's just a retooling of aspects and things that you need for this team? I think that's a very important thing that they have coming forward. Obviously, nailing the head coach is going to be really, really big. And look, when it comes to the steady conversation too, Dave, he had the out last year with Lombardi where it's like, all right, you fired the offensive coordinator and you kind of go, he was a scapegoat. He was the issue. He was all the problem, guys. He's out. He's out. We're good now. Bring somebody else in. And still not working. So who's the problem now? It's you. You are the problem. That's who you are. And I think it's just time to come home for him. And by the way, Joe Lombardi, buddy, you can wear the headset and have a mic. You're not saying anything, brother. You're just up there taking notes for Peyton. You ain't doing anything in that press box, man. You're just writing notes down for Peyton and telling him he looks good. That's all you're doing.
All right. So Justin Herbert, do you think I mean, again, we're open with our opinion. One thing about Justin Herbert is you never hear anything about Justin Herbert being frustrated. Like you literally want him to walk in the office and go, I don't know what this is, but it ain't working. That's it. Straight out of The Hangover, and you sit there and go, this is not happening. It's not working. It's not going in the right direction. This is my career. This is my legacy. The one thing about being the Chargers in LA with so many teams that have big names on them, like we said, you can hide here. And he's hiding. I mean, it sounds weird to say you're hiding as an NFL player, but he's hiding. Yeah, you would love to see, Aaron Rodgers a little bit over the top, but at the same time, you want to see it matter to Justin Herbert. I'm trying to think of an NFL quarterback that I've ever seen go into a game and look like he wasn't there. I just thought Herbert wasn't there today before the injury. It was you can't. What do they always tell you from the time you play freshman football? Man, you're going to get hurt if you aren't giving 100% on this field. You're going to get hurt. And today it looked like, is Justin Herbert going to play today? That's how I felt at the beginning of the game. Is he going to play? Like, what's going on right now? It seems very strange. And then all of a sudden he does get hurt. And you go, well, that was his last play of the season probably, especially he's having surgery on his finger. But what does that mean even? Does that mean he tore a ligament in his finger? I mean, a broken finger is usually a splint. Yeah, what's the deal with this guy's fingers is right.
Yeah. It's always
Good God.
It's poor. Yeah.
Seriously, man. I mean,
Hope
have you
he
ever
gets
seen
better.
the guy?
Hope he gets
Well,
better.
he's not a fast healer, that's for sure.
Okay, Dave. All right. Well,
dude, it took forever for the left hand to get fixed. It was insane.
I mean, a finger's hard to. You ever jam a finger? It's hard.
I've broken fingers. I know exactly, but I'm like, come on, this is ridiculous. What happened to 6
Can you
weeks and let's move on?
Yeah, well, can you think of any star quarterback who has less to work with than Justin Herbert? What, Patrick Mahomes?
Dude, you take away
the
Kelsey.
greatest.
Patrick Mahomes has nothing.
But you have the greatest tight end of all time, so I don't think.
But yeah, I tell you what,
Chargers have the number one receiver right now.
That's
I
true.
mean, it's like a wash, right? Chargers have the number one receiver. They got the top tight end and nothing else. I mean, the way the Chiefs, where Keenan Allen's like our top receiver. Most people wouldn't consider him the top, but he's top 5 for sure right now. The way the Chiefs lose, by the way, was amazing. If anybody hasn't seen that yet, I mean, by the time you listen to the show, you for sure have seen that by now. I'm just going to paint the picture, okay? It's like 3rd and long or whatever, and they're on like the 40 going into the end zone. The Chiefs are at the end of the game. They throw Patrick Mahomes throws a beautiful post right to Travis Kelce. He catches it, throws the greatest pass, flips it back to Kadarius Toney up the sideline, runs it in. Chiefs win, right? Classic Chiefs. They win. Everything goes their way. And then you find out Kadarius Toney lined up in the neutral zone and took away his own touchdown. It is like, what? I've never seen that from the Chiefs in like the last 6 years, whatever it's been. Like they hurt themselves more than I've ever seen. And they got cocky because they got rid of Tyreek Hill. You guys got too cocky. You thought we're so good. We have Andy Reid. He's a genius. We have the best quarterback, the best tight end. We don't need receivers. Yes, you do. It's ridiculous what they're doing over there. And the door is wide open for the Chargers to step in it, but they step on their you-know-whats instead.
Yeah, and I love the complaining that all these Chiefs fans are doing right now that like, oh, you get a warning. You get a warning when you're in the neutral zone. Like, get a warning. I get it. You get a warning, but also let's look at the other 1,000 times you guys been bailed out by the referees ever in your career. I think you can eat one minor inconvenience. And by the way, numbnuts, Kadarius Toney, off, on the line, on the line, off the line, on the line, arm forward. That's on the line. And then they give you a thumbs up. That, and then you go play football. Like, sorry you didn't follow the rules, man. Like, God, it's crazy what happens. You don't follow the rules, right, Dave?
Dude, it's so funny, man. How many times? You're right. I'm not disagreeing with anything you say, but everybody learns when you play that position. You go out, you look at the referee, and you do a thumbs up, and the referee will give you thumbs up. If he doesn't give you thumbs up, you're wrong. Dude, it's funny as hell. Good.
And he was so
Hate
close
K-
to the line
hate
of
K-State.
scrimmage. He was
Yeah.
as close as you
He's
can
right
get
next
as
to
a
the
wide
ball.
receiver. Yeah, the closest you can get as a wideout. That's where he was.
Dude, what's up with this? What's up with these warning things? You're in the NFL. What are you, 12? Why do you get
Yeah.
warnings? You line up off the ball. It's the easiest. You're looking at the ball. What? No warning, dude. You're a professional football player.
No warning.
No warning. Okay. I want to do something real quick. Okay, because
Yeah.
last year we talked about how the Chargers were in the best division in the NFL. AFC West was stacked. Obviously not the case. Okay. I'm going to go division by division. You say AFC West is better or worse. Okay.
Okay.
AFC East.
Worse.
Worse, right? AFC North.
Worse.
Definitely worse. AFC South.
I think the Chargers
Worse.
have finished second in the AFC South.
I
No.
100% disagree. They're not better than the Texans. They're not better than the Colts right now. And they're not better than the Jaguars. And they
You're
lost the
probably
worst team in that division in the Titans. It's
You're
okay.
right.
So the AFC West is probably the worst division in the AFC.
Yeah.
Okay. Chargers are the worst team in the worst division. And I know they're tied with the Raiders. Okay. But the Chargers, I don't think, are as good as the Raiders right now. And the Raiders suck. You watch the Raiders-Vikings game and you think this team is awful. And then you watch the
AOC
Chargers play
sucks.
and you say, oh my God, AOC's not good. And I was singing his praises. Not good. Okay. Purdue guy, we love him. Probably a great guy. Not good. All right. Chargers. Easton Stick is not good either. And that's our quarterback
He's
for
not.
the rest of the season, probably. But my point being is Chargers are a bad team in a bad division. You got to change everything up. I know we talked about it ad nauseum on this show. You have to make radical changes to prove to your franchise quarterback that you're serious. And it has to start like right when the season ends.
If you saw AOC out at a bar and he told you he was an NFL player, you would probably have to ask. Yeah, you'd probably like, dude, let's stop. Look, I love jokes too, but let's make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
In order
Shave
to
the
tell a
mustache off.
lie.
You look like a
Yeah,
state trooper.
Aim for lower. Say baseball, because if you're gonna say you're a professional athlete, go near what you look best in. It's like, all right, baseball, you can be, not the best in shape for baseball. Football, let's be smarter. But he's I saw him a couple times at some visits at Purdue. He looked like he was having a good time, even though that town looks like District 12 from the Hunger Games every single time. It's the cloudiest place in the world. Sun never shines in West Lafayette, Indiana. If anyone's been there, they know that. That's a fact. Yeah, it's sad. I mean, also just fall from grace, the AFC West, right? Like, remember this time? Not even this time, just
Year and a half
last
ago.
year.
Year and a
Yeah,
half
everyone was like, this is a gauntlet. Like, this is the
greatest division in the history of football.
Literally, that's what. Yeah, the greatest division in the history of football. That's what I thought it was. And now we sit here a year and a half later and we're going, woo. Well, Chiefs don't look that good. Russell Wilson forgot that he played football. He doesn't know what he's doing anymore. Derek Carr's gone, and they have a circus of quarterbacks going in there. And Brandon Staley is the dumbest human being on the planet. He's walking into Matt Nagy territory of head coaches. Sad fall from grace. And before you say anything, Dave, I'm just gonna speak for Josh on this too. The Dodger hat's pretty annoying. We get it, dude. Like, we get it. You bought another all-star player. Oh yeah, congrats. Congrats. You bought another all-star player. Congrats.
Another one.
Congrats.
The greatest player of all time.
Okay. Well, you have too much going on. You
need
know
something. I need something.
You got Bama football. Lakers just won the in-season.
Oh, that's true. I'm doing pretty good.
You're doing pretty good right now. Yeah. Except you got one bicep.
I'm not gonna lie. I said to my wife this morning, what did you just drop on me? What did you drop?
You missed out. I said, except you have one bicep.
I do. I have one arm that works. That's true. I have a ruptured bicep. So I said to my wife this morning, I go, man, I've had 3 really good weekends in a row. I go, Alabama knocked off Auburn, in a miracle Hail Mary play. Alabama knocks off Georgia, plus they make it to the college football playoff. And then the Dodgers get Ohtani. I go, all I need is the Chargers to win today. Things are going really good, really good. And literally, that's the first thing I said this morning. Like, felt like Christmas morning, going, things are going really well. Like, it don't get much better than this. And then all of a sudden, it goes to this. So I'm gonna ask you this, and I want people to respond on YouTube on this one. Here's my question. This is the hardest thing to me to do in all the sports. can you watch a game and look at your team's uniform that's in your blood and that logo on the helmet and root against them? Meaning we all know that team is now better off by getting a better draft pick. Can you actually watch Charger games and root against them? Because I'm telling you right now, I can't. I tell you right now, when they start playing Buffalo and the Raiders and the Broncos again and the Chiefs, I'm going to be rooting for the Chargers. I'm not even going to tell you I'm trying to say I hope they lose, because I'm not. It's just not going to go that way. In my head, I'm going to root for the Chargers from kickoff to the end of the game. Can you do it?
No. And I've tried to do it a couple weeks ago, and it lasted about 2 seconds. And I
It
couldn't do it
doesn't
anymore.
work.
I will admit something. I will admit something on this show, though. I do root against certain players, and I know that's evil, and you're not supposed to do that. 100%. Every time somebody misses a touchdown, I hope it's Michael Davis, just to cement my feelings more of this guy sucks. Every time he misses a tackle, anytime somebody overruns a tackle, I want it to be Kenneth Murray, just to cement my feelings again of this guy sucks.
Yeah, usually is.
Yeah, it usually is
your
that
wish
guy.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, when somebody misses a block and Herbert gets his, thrown in the ground, I hope it's Trey Pipkins, just to cement my feelings of this guy sucks.
Oh, thank you for reminding me. Speaking of missed blocks, shout out Jordan McFadden for coming in as the extra lineman as fullback. We did not hit anyone. There's you thought he was running a seam route. Wow, what the hell was that? That was something else today. I've never seen a big fullback come in and they missed that bad. So shout out to him. The answer to your question, Dave, I've been in this spot before. 2017 Chicago Bulls, when we had media day and no one had a last name on the back of their jersey. Been there before. I cheered against that team. Yeah. So I've been at the bottom of the bottle before. Okay, and at some points it becomes fun and you get to laugh the pain off. And then there's some nights where the anger gets to you. So when the anger gets to you guys, you just sit back and you just watch some highlights of, maybe last year, Phil Rivers years. You just think of happier times. Turn on Bama, watching Bama highlights. Josh put on the SEC championship hat that you won and just go, things are good. That's what you got to do. Yeah. There's ways out of it.
It's frustrating. I know as we do the show right now and the Charger fans were nice enough to sit there and go through this horrible roller coaster with us. We appreciate it. It's extremely frustrating. It literally will be the first thing you think about when you wake up in the morning, just like you do every NFL game, whether they win or lose, and you go on, our season's over. And for the announcers today, the national announcers, to go after the Chargers the way they weren't wrong. You can say they were picking on our team. They weren't wrong. I mean, Mark, you brought up the point when you bring in the big guy to come in and go, oh, this is cool, because it's always cool when you bring in a guy that doesn't normally play behind the offensive line that's 800 pounds, and then he has no idea where to stand or what he's doing. Whose idea was it to stick him out there? And didn't you go over this in practice and then you get called out for not being prepared? I think there's nothing worse than when a national broadcaster calls you out for not being prepared, and just over and over. And your inability to get first downs on fourth down, or your inability to get first downs on third down, and just rip your team apart. Insane. Even when there's pass interference on Michael Davis and Cortland Sutton, just one hand's a touchdown of 40 yards, and you're just going, man, nothing's going our way. It's just nothing is going this team's way, and they're being called out in front of everybody. It was really maybe the worst performance of an NFL team the entire year, today's game against the Broncos.
Yeah, I really want to hear Staley's press conference when he tells you they did a good job against the run.
Yeah,
and it wasn't his fault that they lost. Mario, do you have any advice for when your team sucks and you have to give up on a season? Is there anything we can do to make this better?
Yeah, you have any experience?
Yeah, so usually you got to have a back burner. So you're always going to have a team that's still good that you can still watch too. Mine was always Carolina basketball. So it was no matter what, I have Carolina basketball. And thankfully, they got me through the bad Bulls years. So you got to have a backup. All right. And if you don't have a backup, what I do, which maybe is the degenerate of better in me, is I go pick a future. I pick a future on a pretty heavy favorite team. So NBA, I'd probably do Sixers. And I'd be all right, I'm now a diehard fan of the Sixers. And I just watch every game of theirs. And then I'm just rooting my ass off for them for the rest of the year. So that's my thing for you guys. So choose a future, NFL, NBA, NHL, and really ride that puppy out. But Counter, you better be sure, because I've also been on the side where you bet the future and then the future doesn't come through and it ends pretty early. That's another one where that's a double kick to the nuts. Yeah, that one sucks. That's not bottom of the bottle, it's bottom of the gallon. And that's not fun.
See, I love the NFL, man. I say it all the time. And I said to you guys before the season began, the team that I really enjoy watching outside of the Chargers is the Dolphins. I love watching offense. The speed of those guys is fun to watch. At the same time, I know the Dolphins aren't going to win in the playoffs. They cannot beat a good team. That being said, if you had a bad betting week this week, Dolphins play on Monday Night Football against the Titans, better ride that game with the Dolphins. Dolphins are going to kill the Titans. They're going to pound those guys, you know?
What?
That's what it's going to go. That's exactly what's going to happen. Going to South Beach and the Titans are going to get pounded. Bet your money.
Okay. Yeah. Well,
All right, let's wrap this thing up, Mario.
yeah. That's it, folks.
That's it. Hey, I just let you know. We'll have the numbers for you on our picks. I did pretty good. Just let you guys know. There are 2 Monday night games tomorrow. Again, the Dolphins are favored by 13.5. That's a big number. Josh said he'll take the Titans. Titans got some bad news today. Of course, one of the team's favorite players of all time, Frank Wycheck. It was reported that he passed away over the weekend, so that's extremely sad. Maybe the Titans they rally for him. At the same time, you'll have the New York Giants, Green Bay Packers. I took the Packers. Josh and Mario took the Giants in this game at 6.5. Packers are favored. And then, of course, we'll wrap up the weekend. Here's what we're going to do when we come back on Tuesday, guys. I want us to go through the list of free agents. Mario kind of touched on it as far as what money do the Chargers have and who could they possibly chase to help fix this too. Not just through the draft, but free agent-wise, who would you chase? And also so you don't have that mistake of a J.C. Jackson type signing that completely handcuffs the team for years. So we're going to go through some names that maybe we haven't mentioned that hopefully better days are coming sooner than later for the Chargers. So we'll touch all that stuff in a couple days. Again, disappointing game as you go ahead
and preview Raiders Chargers. That's Thursday. It's a quick turnaround.
Yeah, I was looking forward
game.
to that.
Yeah,
can it get worse than the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, Al Michaels better get hammered for that one. He's getting in for a tough one.
If you don't know already, the Raiders lost 3-0 to the Vikings. You know what the point spread in that game was? Do you remember?
Yeah, I wrote it down.
Vikings. I got it written down. Vikings favored by 3.
Oh yeah,
Vikings are favored by 3. So if you bet that game or you watch the game, it was just a push. 3-0. Can you imagine you buy tickets for that? Or if you live in Southern California and said, "Hey, I got an idea. Let's go to Vegas for the weekend and catch the Raiders and then watch them lose 3-0. Holy yes, man. Things could be worse. Unbelievable. Chargers lose again. 8 losses now on the season. Not a good sign. We'll talk about it on Tuesday, what they can do to get better. I know this seemed like kind of a downer show, but at the same time, we'll try and give you answers how things will get better in the next show. If you're listening on the Odyssey app, Bolt City Podcast, we appreciate it. YouTube, though, please leave the comments. Can you root against your team for a draft pick? I think the only possible way to do it is to not watch the games and just hope that you find out your team lost. But you cannot actually watch the game with the logo, the uniforms, and everything and root against that team. It's in your blood. All of us are stuck together. We're on a bad ship.
We cry together.
We're on a bad ship. All right, we'll be back in a couple days. Again, for Mario Heron, Josh Palet, I'm Dave Palet. We'll see you next time.